We all know grandparents want to have fun with their grandkids, but there are different ways to do it. I like to continue a family tradition, but I first want to introduce the people that started. Here's my father-in-law, mother-in-law. Totally, we have how many grandkids?
10.
10. Okay, there are 10 of them. My observation, the result is great.
We started the tradition because I heard about something similar that one of the women in one of my book groups was doing with her husband and grandchildren, which was taking the grandchildren without their parents for a trip or a special visit the summer that the children were 10. And I thought that would be fun, and because none of our grandchildren live in town with us, we didn't get to see them regularly.
To me, the most beneficial is the kids start leaving home without their parents. We have to find a chaperone from the airline, but the kids has to be on their own taking the airplane from our house to the grandparents. I think that is something very unique, at least from a Chinese parent's perspective. Kids anticipate. The first Amy went, she's the oldest, and the second, after a certain age, he's expected to do the same thing. So he's anticipating, he's excited about it. At the same time, maybe he's a little bit scared on himself the first time.
For some of the kids, that was true. Now, with Amy, you may or may not remember, actually, she didn't fly alone. First of all, Rebecca was with her, and secondly, I came out to take them from here to there, but they flew back alone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were a little concerned about how they would do, and I wanted to be there for the first one. But and I pointed out things that they, that they would.
Right. The first time you have to experiment. You don't know what.
Another feature of what we did was I have a wood shop, as you know.
Oh yeah.
It has a lot of power tools, enabling you to make many things. I started off with Rebecca and Amy with a project of each of them making a footlocker. And that went very well. In the middle of having the grandchildren with us in the summer, they were making some much more sophisticated furniture. Alexander went home with a desk that he had built using furniture bolts. We disassembled it, we shipped it, he reassembled it. Stephen made a lamp, turned it on the lathe. These were opportunities to, in essence, learn how to use tools, feel comfortable using tools, hand tools, power tools, big power tools, and remain safe. And that was one of the things that I most wanted to have come out of this. Not just feeling competent, but knowing when to exercise caution. The children all stepped up to the burden. And Stephen made sure that he kept his goggles on, because when wood chips fly, when you're making something on the lathe, you can get them in your eye. When they're using a radial arm saw or the big bench saw, that requires a lot of caution, not only for eye protection, but to make sure all of your fingers remain attached. And they all stepped up to the challenge.
Both the safety and the learning of how to do it, which is something that, and it has carried over for some of them, to being helpful around the house, knowing how to do things that maybe their mothers don't know how to do.
The kids learn independent. They leave their house on themselves. They learn some skill that they cannot get from other places. Learn also how to interact with other people outside their house.
Right, and I think they all got closer to us. I think it's really influenced our long-term relationship with them. I think
long-term.
We feel closer to them, and I think they to us, because of having those 10 to 14 days together alone with them at a time in their lives when they're intellectually quite mature. We had very adult conversations with at some point, as well as exposing them to things that we love so that they could come to share our enjoyment in those things and get to know us better.
They filled time reading, and we would talk about what they were reading. They would often ask about what we were reading, and it just felt like this was an opportunity to continue to build family.
I figured the age of 10 or 11 was the perfect age because they're old enough to travel independently and to be away from their parents for that amount of time. but young enough to still be interested in us and not be adolescents.
And not only did they come and stay with us, but we had a number of activities that we thought would introduce them, activities that they would enjoy over a lifetime. We would take the children to dinner theater, typically.
Because we love theater, we wanted them to be exposed to it.
And we made a point during the time with us of going out to Glenwood Springs in Colorado, which is a resort kind of small community with large mineral springs, swimming pool, largest in the world maybe, and nearby caves up on the top of the mountain overlooking Glenwood Springs, and the children would go up with us into the caves. They would spend time actually then typically given sort of free rein. We got them day tickets to the amusement park area there.
Which was under development, so the first two kids who came, there weren't that many rides, but over the years, because it was 11 years from the beginning to the end of his project, it expanded. But the other thing at Glenwood Springs, which was there's very good whitewater rafting along the Colorado River.
Were they scared with some of the activities?
No, in fact, they would run out and do these things that were really exciting for them. Riding the bull in the river rafting. They jumped at the opportunity to sit on the front of the large float boat and...
Well, most of them did, not all of them.
Yeah, but
They had control. If there was something they didn't want to do, we didn't make them
Right.
do it. For each kid or set of kids, because some came alone and some came, if there were two around the same age, often they came together or they overlapped for part of the time. So we did talk with them and their parents beforehand about what their special interests were. And while we did mostly the same things with each child, there were differences. The ones who were more interested in art, one of them went to art camp for 3 days.
So it's a special interest of that.
Well, actually, Stephen was the first one that we offered kayaking. We knew he was interested in fishing, and the same little place in Golden provided fishing lessons and kayaking lessons, and we asked him if he would like to do that, and he said yes, and fishing turned out to be kind of a dud, but he loved the kayaking. Then we discovered a kayaking camp that was there, and the next four all chose to go to the kayaking camp for 5 days.
My observation after the kids in this kind of a trip, they are a lot more independent. They grow more mature. I really think they are very proud of themselves for their accomplishment. They bring back their work from the workshop. The lamp is in front of their bed, looking at every day. It's really reinforcement of the relationship with their grandparents. I like to continue this family tradition to pass on. Maybe I design something different. Maybe I will snatch them from their crib from earlier age. You know me, I will improve it. It's the improvement. Yeah.
You'll make it be your own.
Yeah, I make unique my own. Hopefully viewers can learn something from it, because I've never seen things like this before, and I feel this is the best.
thank you.